players, it's exciting to see because it's it's an ability that you can kind of use to match your style and personality. So I'm kind of curious to see how he learns it.
Well, everybody, we have our GLs and our HFs, and DOOI, we are going to be getting into Blood Covenant here for the very first round, very first game here today on the Quake Open League. We're going to be following psygib out of the gate, getting the immediate pickup for nail gun and heavy armor. But on this side of the map, you know, a Visor, he's going to have to spend a little bit more time getting rockets, a little bit more time getting rails, but the damage he's doing with that nail gun is immediately so lethal. Effortless trying to rope himself out of there, but it's not going to go his way. And
yeah, you could see psygib's plan from the get-go was to cause that first engagement where he could heal. Oh, wow, that's messy. It's a messy fight. But you could obviously see that his plan was to delay the use of that ability to have an advantage in that first engagement rather than using it right away to see where he went.
And I'm going to be switching over to the psygib there because, yeah, I mean, they both got immediately very, very sweaty in the first, you know, even 30 seconds of this game. And when you get that many nails out of the teleporter, yeah, it kind of does justify you, going all in and trying to get the job done. And indeed he has. He's still one frag up and one frag away from taking the first round, but things are starting to slow down just a little bit with psygib hovering over pillars, looking for these rails, and he's going to be able to get the... Oh, well, I wanted to say the first two shots off, but now Effortless has a way to get out of there. But he's not watching his back. He's going to be taking a bit more damage, getting bounced back and forth. Might be in trouble here.
Yeah, I think psygib played that perfectly, using that orb to bait the look. But also knowing the entire fight that he had the high ground and the faster route to heavy armor, he could easily fall back at any time at that fight and be safe and healthy.
And it's got to be said, I mean, psygib's ability to just switch back over to the machine gun consistently really did help out, getting some clean frags here. They're both going to be spawning over towards Mega, and yeah, when you're Athena, it kind of justifies you trying to get in and get quick there. But psygib managing to get the pickup, getting some good damage off of his Tri-Bolt as well, and getting the first pickup for a Railgun. So here's a bit more pressure on the heavy.
Yeah, that was a really good play by psygib to go ahead and push to that Railgun. He saw that Athena used 2 grapples and knew that he was going to save his last grapple to get away from heavy rather than to push directly to rail. So he knew that rail was safe at that point.
Oof, taking these rockets. I mean, psygib's in trouble. He's literally down to 1 HP here as he's making a run back out. Mega's going to be back up. He's going to be looking for the safer health and armor just for a moment, as that's going to be coming up for him. So no real aggression there from Effortless as he's on his own side looking for that heavy armor. They're both going to be pretty well up on weapons, but psygib's going to have the extra little bit of knowledge from this piercing sight. See if it turns into some shots. Ah, no damage out of that LG.
Yeah, that was a super risky situation for Effortless to go ahead and drop without any intel as to where psygib was. Looks like it's going to actually pay off, though. He's getting a massive amount of damage on psygib's Visor here, and I think if the Visor goes down, that puts him at an immediate disadvantage. Either starting off with Ranger as his second champ or starting off with Athena, neither are particularly marvelous second champ.
Right. Yeah, when you're looking at that second champ, you're generally looking for somebody who can, make a very quick comeback. If you manage to lose that fight, but you still did a ton of damage, you want somebody who can kind of capitalize on that. Athena can get into the fight, but being a light champion, might not be able to survive it, especially with the long-range play that psygib is making fairly consistently here. Effortless diving back over towards bridge. There's not a lot for him over there right now. psygib hopping back through teleporter, looking for the long-range damage, but it's going to need some more ammo here as well.
Yeah, I think the ammo changes coming in the PTS patch are going to make it interesting. But for the time being, ammo is relatively plentiful if you can find your way over to the weapon spawn. Some good rockets there, and unfortunately with Athena, if you don't win the item mid-fight and you're out of position, you're easily punishable by someone who's a little meatier. Especially once you've used that grapple and they know exactly where you're going.
And psygib's stickiness in all these fights, I mean, he's totally aware of that, totally cognizant. And with this LG, yeah, you were looking for that last rail from Effortless, but that is going to be him down to his own Visor.
I feel like he just wanted to sit there and watch the Gibbs for a second. He's like, ah, yes, I'm appreciating my work.
Gibbs. Yeah, which is the correct pronunciation, by the way, which is why you're here.
Yes, that's why they picked me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Psygib watching the Gibbs.
Yeah, nobody calls him psygib,
You know? I can't
nobody does
why.
that. Not even people who insist on calling it jib calls psygib side.
I've heard psygod, but I haven't heard psygib.
Well, he's going to be looking for another rail here as Effortless is edging over towards a pickup of his own. He's going to get that here. So it's going to be an even trade of weapon to Mega, but really good speed there out of Effortless. He wanted to collapse in on this Mega very quickly. psygib's going to try to punish back with machine gun a little bit, but he's going to have to dive off here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, almost dealing 150 damage. psygib knows that Effortless has to be right around 100 dead even, at most, and that he can back up onto this heavy and and at worst be even stacked by the next fight, and that's looking like what's about to happen here. So I think psygib really wanted to make sure that because he's 2 champs up, whatever came out of that was dead even if it was you know, he lost the frag, he wound up doing 250 damage to Effortless, and Effortless was very low. He wanted to make sure the numbers were even.
Well, right now it's the frags that are fairly uneven here. We got a 2 frag advantage for psygib, and with that first rail, he's looking to close the gap here a little bit, using that last moment of piercing sight to getting close, but that's going to be Effortless diving back out through LG. But he's kind of getting bounced around from side to side of the map without any real item to take. This is a 15-second item split now, allowing psygib to have full control almost the whole time.
Yeah, full control and a 50-point basically advantage in stack to start this next fight. So he wants to make sure he doesn't take a rail immediately, give Effortless any reason or inkling that he could go ahead and engage. psygib's got full control with 1 minute left. He's just trying to win this round.
Yeah, and it being the 1 minute, I mean, even if we see Effortless get a rail in or 2, I mean, it's likely going to turn into an attempt on... Well, no, it's going to be a big fracas here on the teleporter itself. psygib with some really good fancy footwork to do a solid rocket of damage and then get the hell out of dodge. He's still 2 frags up, so, I mean, Effortless is still in a really bad state here, but he can at least get the win for that heavy armor.
That was a really, really good all-in by Effortless. That was the exact right play to make with about a minute left. A lot of players make the mistake of just waiting a little too long because Effortless can now push. It's not working out.
Yeah.
He just kind of realized it was over. But he gave himself 2 opportunities in the last minute to really make a comeback in that round. And that's what you have to do in that situation, is read it as, I need opportunities, the best ones that I can get, because they're going to be scarce.
And I dig that rocket jump at the end there, too. Just like, oh, if you want to chase me, you got RJ as well, right into my LG. So, yeah, Effortless is going to need to sweat a little bit more here coming into the 3rd round. psygib on a really great start. And again, he's taken QOLs before, so he's going to be on the warpath of victory here today. We're going to be looking at him without a rail just yet. He's going to have HMG at the very least, looking for a rocket launcher as well. Effortless is going to have the hook, so he's going to have a good advantage on all of these weapons. But it's going to be psygib RJing over for his own rail, and Effortless isn't really looking for him on the tail end of that, so there's not really a better place for Effortless to be right now, except punishing him on rail.
Yeah, I think psygib knows in that situation he doesn't need to rush to rail because Effortless continues to run Athena first. And with the lights, those 15 damages add up even more so than any other. Other champs you can restack on light armors back to 100, but if you're taking 15 ticks on a light, you can quickly find yourself at 150 versus someone with 250 total hit points.
It's so very dangerous, and so this next fight coming back up here, we got psygib getting that initial rail off, and again, like after that first hit, you immediately see him go, all right,
this is it, this is the one.
This is the time, and
there's
wow,
that tick.
3 ticks even with the rope usage. So psygib looking for the trap here on pillars. Effortless smells a rat, but he's actually getting really good rockets, fantastic rockets, in fact.
Really good read.
So it's going to be Effortless finally getting a frag up on him here. Could be a good turnaround. And Effortless made that frag fairly cleanly, but this is going to be a messy fight. The orb goes wide, but my God, the rockets coming out of Effortless are just magical.
And this is where we'll see Effortless start to shine, is when he has control and he's hitting his shots, he's particularly messy to play against.
Yeah.
He'll hit shots that other players don't necessarily hit because his strengths are more the rocket LG combo rather than the hit skin only that you see more prominent in today's game.
And you can tell with his comfort close range with the rockets. I mean, he's really adept at the whole pop and lock, but he's going to be taking some more nails. Ooh, nearly takes that last rail, and it's going to be Athena. This is everything I've dreamed of, but psygib is going to be putting Effortless to sleep.
The second he missed that grapple, you knew that was going to be a really, really uncomfortable fight, and that's exactly what it turned into for him.
He's still 1 frag in the lead. So he's still got a little bit of time to play with this thing out, and honestly, I mean, this is the match point for psygib's round. So yeah, the tribal damage here on the bridge is going to be good. If only
really
he had a rail, but he's going to be able to take rockets and look for the damage, but against an Athena, it's so hard to nail her down.
Yeah, and I think that's where we see kind of psygib shine here is that machine gun usage compared to Effortless's machine gun usage there. You can definitely see the difference in time spent on that particular skill, and it's hurting Effortless at this point.
Oof. psygib's LG, though, winning out on that battle. It's going to be him tying things back together. As psygib's going to be back on the rope, back on the bridge, looking for the assault on the heavy armor, with Effortless, even as a relatively fresh spawn, looking for the pickup here, just trying to hold it down with just the nail gun. He's doing some pretty good damage, enough to scare psygib off and give Effortless the pickup, but as they kind of crawl their way back over towards pillars, it's going to be a fight over Mega.
That's kind of an unfortunate fall there, because it slowed him down by about 2 seconds, and that wound up being the difference.
And psygib not sticking in that fight, coming back around the corner. Just the right moment. Great rockets looking for the rail. Doesn't quite get it. With 31 HP, Effortless saves himself, at least for the 1 round. So we're going to be looking at the next one. Effortless hopefully is waking up a little bit here today. Yeah,
that was some really quality shots from psygib, but I think the general theme was his movement blunder going towards the upper area, upper green, really cost him that positioning on Mega.
Absolutely, and with the teleporter damage even out of the machine gun, and Athena has to respect that. A delayed pickup of the heavy armor, so we've got rockets and rails for Effortless up first, and that could certainly help things up, but by now psygib will have that information as well. And so as Effortless wants to cross over through LG, he might be running into some trouble here. Doesn't have some great information at the moment.
Yeah, he needed to either A, preserve his grapples there, or use one to get out, and he kind of blundered his grapple. It's the 3rd or 4th one we've seen from both of these players this game. So obviously a newer champ. The familiarity with the movement compared to some of the other champs may not be there just yet, but I think as the game evolves, you'll see that type of stuff cleaned up.
Absolutely, and Effortless is making a pretty good stab at it already. Didn't quite have the audio read, but still got some pretty free damage off with that rocket, more than I would have expected. So psygib's going to be a little bit weaker coming into pillars, getting trapped in a close-range fight. Effortless doesn't want it either, but is willing to play the teleporter game, at least for a moment.
That was a really good move by psygib to use his ult there, just to make sure he didn't get caught off guard. She's so fast that you could be looking in the right direction, and she can still get around, your spam if you're looking, at the proper angle. So using the ult there to make sure that she didn't get the jump on and hit that first rocket and secure the frag was really, really smart.
Some nasty LG damage coming out of psygib already, and Effortless not quite hitting every rocket he needs. He's got the pop, doesn't quite have the rail, and psygib's rocket is going to be able to take down that Athena. Effortless now down 1, and he's very quickly getting back into the same state he was last round.
Yeah, I think that was an issue of discipline there. I think he saw red and wanted to go for the play instead of just saying, hey, I've dropped, I can get some health, I can get some armor, and maybe I can give myself a slightly better chance in this next fight.
Really good LG. The rockets from Effortless not quite on point. A lot of whiffed rails from both of these players here, looking for that last shot, and it's going to be punishing psygib as he's looking for an exit. 12 seconds to either item, narrowly avoiding that last one, but he's got to stack back up and make a play towards either heavy or mega, hopefully not the one that Effortless is going for.
Yeah, I think if you would go back and look at the first maps of tournaments like this, you probably see that rails being whiffed are a more common theme than someone being particularly hot, and I think that has a lot to do with, when you're the first 2 to play in a tournament, you tend to kind of get pulled into a lobby a little sooner than you would, that was a good kill, than you would later in the tournament. So they're probably not quite totally warmed up yet. They'll probably start hitting harder into the second map.
Well, it is single elimination. It is playoffs. This is the time to do or die, and Effortless is exactly 1 frag away from doing exactly that. We got psygib taking away Mega. It's going to be a clean trade of the heavy at the very least. They're both on visor, so the piercing side is going to be a factor. We've got psygib laying in wait a little bit by the pillars, though. Looking for the rail. He's going to get that first hit.
You'll see him use there.
Yeah.
And then, the damage, the quality of an ult there is very high from psygib. He's got 150 health. He knows that's all he's got. And he's got to survive this fight. Make sure Effortless stays in as long as possible, delaying time and giving himself, as much of an advantage as he can. And now he's going to have, a total of 100 hit points. He knows Effortless has that heavy armor. He knows Mega's up. He's like, okay, we traded. I'm 2 frags up. Again, we're in the similar situation to round 2. We got 4 minutes left, or a minute left. We're almost at 4-minute mark, and I'm in a good position if I'm psygib.
And the fact that he was able to get back up on the Mega, get some light armors up, he's bought himself a lot more of a lifeline in a potential close-range fight against Effortless. And it's rails like that. He doesn't even need to kill Effortless right now, but knowing that Effortless needs to go all in, here comes the defensive shots, and psygib is just shutting him down.
Yeah, and this might be it here. Very good ult from psygib, and that little armor saving Effortless for the moment, but not really.
Effortless knew it was up there, so it's going to be a clean frag and a fairly clean win out of psygib here, as it's going to be GG's called 3-1 for the first map. So hopefully by this point, Effortless can knock off some of the rust and get into the next one fairly cleanly.
Yeah, I think Effortless obviously thought that was a good heckin' game because he did the GHD. So, no, but I think Effortless played particularly well on some of the rounds. And psygib was probably just playing a little bit more of a consistent game overall, dealing more damage, understanding when to use his visor ult. I think Effortless had probably had the advantage on Athena. I think he played her a little better. But I think the visor ult from psygib was just very oppressive. particularly against that light champion, countering her
And
movement.
how many times did we see psygib just immediately get a first rail? And that was not the end of a fight, it was the beginning of one.
Right, and he was so confident in pushing in after those first rails. Even if he, missed a couple shots, he knew that that was his high percentage chance. That was going to be the best odds for him.
It never feels good when you get the feeling that your opponent thinks, okay, I could just push in on him, and your defensive rails, your defensive rockets aren't going to be enough to scare me away. Like,
it's kind of shaking your confidence. Like, man, they're really not respecting me at all.
No. I mean, I was actually a little bit shocked to see psygib just get that first rail in. And on especially a map like Blood Covenant, it's like, okay, cool, I railed him. That means he can't go for a railgun right now. It means he can't go for this mega potentially. So I'm kind of winning the strategic game, but psygib just W'd up like every time.
And I think psygib did a particularly good job of saving that visor ult, making sure he had it when he needed it and not using it as kind of a default. Oh, it's time for me to use my ult now.
Yeah.
It was rail. I can use my ult. I know he's weak. I'm going to kill him.
All right, so there we go. We're going to be going into Awoken here as we're going to have a much closer range fight. And, of course, now we've got no potential for the BJs, which is usually a big deal on Awoken for now. It's going to be changing pretty soon. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens with all that. But this could be one of the last online tournaments we see with, kind of this meta and this gameplay. So
I'm not going to outright call it, but we might see... No, we didn't see the Sorlag here. I thought we might see a Sorlag from Effortless, but with DK in the mix, I guess that's the better pick. But yeah, no BJs is definitely going to make this interesting, especially on the heavy armor. That can be a death trap.
And, I mean, this entire map is a death trap, especially these first spawns. So Effortless spawns, between Banana and Mega, which is always a little bit ambiguous. Great rail coming out of psygib. It might not have too much of a difference in the end, and at least Effortless didn't get knocked off the map, but it certainly sets a tone for the very first shot.
Well, I think psygib, knowing that Effortless doesn't have an active ability that's going to absolutely, destroy him here, he can use that Visor's ult a little more aggressively. Oh, wow, what a rail to finish him off there. He can use that Visor's ult a little more aggressively to get some early damage and kind of keep Galena's armor stacked down. She's much less effective when she doesn't have armor.
Yeah.
And that totem, it could be a Punisher, but it's not quite like a Ranger orb where, if you lose track of where Ranger is, that could be it around the corner, hiding, waiting for you.
Absolutely. You do kind of need to play the long con here, but psygib's going to be, again, just getting that first hit and trying to close the gap, respecting the corner, not immediately diving around it, but still getting Effortless in a state where, he has limited options for escaping the fight, and psygib is positioning himself perfectly to punish him no matter which way he goes. Oh, no! Oh. And the orb doesn't quite go all the way to the top. That's going to be a disastrous finish to Effortless's Ranger. Oh, and another rail through the TP.
Oh, wow. These are just quality rails.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's hitting hard, and he knows it, and he's playing it exactly how he should be. I know I'm destroying you. I'm just going to keep rolling. Wow.
You can see, like, the quick math that psygib was doing there. Like, all right, he hasn't picked up LG yet. Can I get around this corner by the time he wants it? Is he likely to go for the LG because he thinks it's safe to pick up?
Yeah, I'm going to start on Effortless here just to kind of see what he's running with this Galena. Missing a little rocket jump there, but that's okay. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
tactical. Exactly. As Roman would say, that's a tactical boy. So yeah, I think Effortless is doing the right thing here, kind of rotating to the side of the map where Visor would not expect him to be, and gaining access to that railgun.
Yeah, I feel like if you're starting as Galena here, you're doing yourself up. Yeah, is your mouse okay, Effortless? Sort yourself out.
Are you okay? Is it your mouse? Is this operator error? Like, do we need to know something?
If you can avoid that fight in the first 15 seconds on Awoken as Galena, you've done yourself some favors. But it's about that second pickup of items here. He's going to eat a rail on the way down to the heavy, and that's not going to be returned by his own rail, unfortunately. So that's a free pickup in every corner. Effortless goes around. He is just getting pegged by psygib's rails, and that's just going to be the shotgun to whittle him down. Yeah,
that's some quality dodging around the pillars, but you might want to incorporate using a different weapon than railgun in that type of fight where you're probably going to go down.
Hasn't been a problem for psygib just
yet.
So Effortless just really wants in on this fight. He thought, okay, I did a little bit of damage in that fight at least. I could get something done with the orb, but he's almost immediately punished for it.
Yeah, I think psygib's doing a really good job of creating some space. Oh man, he just keeps hitting him. He's doing a really good job of creating space when Effortless wants to be aggressive, and then closing gaps when Effortless is trying to be defensive. And it sounds super simple, but when your movement's as good as these guys are, it can be really, really tricky.
He's so quiet around these corners too, even fading out and throwing a big Olay. at the flame strike. So yeah, just around that corner. And this is actually a tough corner to get a good first rocket on. It's everything if you can knock him up into the doorway. Hard to get every time, but that was flawless from psygib.
And it almost looked like a replay. It almost looked like he said, well, if he eats this rocket, I'm going to stay. If he doesn't, I'm going to go to this nail gun and just back off. And, you know, because he's got that ult to kind of win the fight. It was a really smart play by psygib.
And so we're going to be seeing Effortless with potentially the first pick of a rail, but he's actually putting himself into the middle of the map very quickly here, so he's going to have rockets at the very least. Not sure what else. Okay, yeah, he's got a railgun. Good, good. So that's going to be him through the teleporter. And again, like, is your mouse okay? I don't think it's an emotional thing. His rockets are fine, though. There's nothing wrong with Effortless's rockets whatsoever.
Well, yeah, it must be operator error then, right?
I guess.
Oh, nice nails.
But he is just running out of bodies very quickly. He's down to a range run and Galena here, almost immediately taking a rocket off the spawn, trying to go in for the orb. He's able to get himself the heavy armor, and this is going to be a good run-in. But around that pillar, it's going to be difficult for Effortless to finish off. Looking for the machine gun to get the last bit of damage. He's weak himself. Looking for that 25. It's already gone.
Yeah, that was kind of an awkward fight. I think they both expected the fight to end sooner than it did. And so you wind up with two guys with the wrong guns out shooting at each other, trying to figure out what was going on, and nobody really knowing.
Yikes.
Some more good damage from psygib.
I mean, Effortless is just so weak here, so he's going to be looking at the usual suspects for recovery, but on Awoken, even that can turn into a trap. So he wants to make sure that psygib is pushing in from this side before he goes for banana, and kind of forcing psygib to have to cross top T very quickly if he wants to put the aggression on. But psygib's also cutting off the 25s and taking that down.
Yeah, I think psygib did a really, really good job there of holding off before he fell from rockets and making sure that, like, even though if Effortless is going to be LGing him, he knows that the damage will be reduced if he doesn't immediately fall straight into the stream. He kind of slows down just a hair and give him a little longer into that fight. Wow.
Yeah, that one was pretty nasty. Just consistent LG, standing his ground, backing up a little bit, giving himself